My dear chosen one, you didn't imagine it. And no, it wasn't just a bad season. What you went through, chosen one, was full-scale spiritual warfare, and it lasted for years. The insomnia, the sudden waves of anxiety for no reason, the betrayal from people you trusted, the financial blockages, the isolation, the emotional collapses that came out of nowhere. All of it. This wasn't random. This wasn't bad luck. This was a targeted, strategic attack designed to break your spirit and stop your destiny. And here's what they never expected. You survived. You endured. And without even realizing it, you just triggered a spiritual counterattack that is already in motion. And it's going to crush every single force that came against you. I need you to stay with me until the end of this video, because what I'm about to reveal is happening right now, in the spiritual realm, while you're listening. This is not just a motivational speech. This is a prophetic alert. The enemy is already feeling the effects of the backlash you just triggered. And I'm not talking about something symbolic. I mean real, measurable, undeniable consequences hitting the people, the spirits, and the energies that spent years trying to destroy you. They're losing sleep now. They're confused. Doors are closing on them. Relationships are collapsing. What they sent out is coming back multiplied. But before I explain why this is happening now and how it all started, you need to understand the full picture of the war you've been in. For too long, you blamed yourself for the chaos. You thought maybe it was just bad decisions. Maybe you were cursed. Maybe you were just unlucky in life. But no, what you've been fighting all this time was an invisible army sent to block your spiritual growth and suffocate your destiny. And because you didn't quit, because you didn't give up, because you stayed on your knees even when you felt like you were losing, heaven just released a counterattack on your behalf. This isn't about revenge. This is about justice. Divine, undeniable spiritual justice. And before this video ends, I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening with them right now and what you need to do next to protect your victory. For years, you felt like you were pushing against something you couldn't see. Every time you tried to take one step forward, something would knock you 2 steps back. Opportunities would slip through your fingers at the last second. Friendships that felt genuine would suddenly turn toxic. Relationships would crumble without explanation. Even your own mind felt like a battlefield. Random waves of depression, anxiety, emotional breakdowns that made no sense. You started questioning your own sanity, wondering if you were cursed or just destined for struggle. But deep down, you always sensed it was bigger than just circumstances. There was something spiritual happening behind the scenes, something determined to stop you. Now, it's time to expose exactly what you were up against. The first layer of attack? Demonic interference. Dark entities assigned to cloud your judgment, fuel your insecurities, and drain your emotional energy. They whispered lies into your mind at night, fed you thoughts of hopelessness, magnified every fear and every doubt. These spirits didn't want you to pray. They wanted you to spiral. They didn't want you to move forward. They wanted you to freeze in fear. And for a while, it almost worked. They had you questioning your worth, your sanity, even your purpose. That wasn't the only front. There were shadow spirits too, energetic parasites that followed you like invisible clouds. They distorted your perception of reality, made you second-guess every decision. They created confusion in your spirit, making simple things feel overwhelming. They wrapped you in spiritual fog, so you couldn't see your path clearly. Every time a new opportunity came, doubt would hit harder. Every time joy tried to creep in, sadness would drown it out. This wasn't just emotional imbalance. It was energetic sabotage, silent, relentless, strategic, and let's not forget the human instruments. People used by darkness without even knowing they were being used. Ex-partners who played with your emotions. Friends who suddenly turned on you without reason. Family members who spoke word curses over your life, calling you lazy, crazy, irresponsible, when in reality, you were fighting invisible battles they couldn't see. Some mocked your faith, others betrayed your trust. Some tried to crush your spirit with manipulation, gossip, and rejection. But what none of them realized is that by attacking you, they were aligning themselves against your spiritual assignment. And through all of it, you kept standing. Even when you felt like you were drowning emotionally, something inside you refused to die. You prayed when you didn't feel like it. You kept going to work when you wanted to give up. You showed up for people even when you felt empty. Your spirit kept rising, even with broken wings. And every time you chose faith over fear, every time you chose prayer over panic, every time you chose hope over hopelessness, you were building something in the spirit that couldn't be seen, but was growing stronger by the day. What the enemy didn't anticipate was your resilience. They thought by now you'd be bitter, hateful, permanently broken. They thought you'd curse God and walk away from your purpose. But instead, you got wiser, stronger, more spiritually aware. You learned how to discern fake friends. You learned how to spot energy shifts in a room. You learned how to pray with authority instead of desperation. And without even realizing it, you were building momentum, spiritual momentum. And with that momentum came a frequency shift powerful enough to trigger the one thing your enemies feared most, the counterattack. And here's where it gets real. The counterattack wasn't something you consciously launched. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't bitterness. It was a natural, spiritual law coming into motion. For every tear you cried, for every betrayal you endured, for every sleepless night you survived, there was a weight accumulating in the spirit. And when you crossed that final threshold of healing and alignment, the scales tipped. The energy they sent out, multiplied over time, is now being redirected straight back to them. Not by your choice, but by divine order. You may have noticed the shift already. Recently, your mind has felt clearer. Your sleep has started to improve. The emotional heaviness that used to sit on your chest, it's lifting. The same situations that used to trigger you now feel distant, almost irrelevant. That's not coincidence. That's not random healing. That's spiritual evidence. The war is changing sides. The pressure you carried for years is now being felt by those who sent it. The same confusion that kept you up at night is now hitting their minds. The same emotional chaos that drained you daily is now unraveling their peace. The atmosphere has shifted, and whether they admit it or not, they can feel it. Some of them are having nightmares. Others are waking up in cold sweats, feeling like they're being watched. Relationships they used to manipulate easily are falling apart. Financial stability they took for granted is crumbling. Unexpected health issues are surfacing. Emotional breakdowns they can't explain are starting to happen. Why? Because spiritual law is in effect now. What you sow, you reap. And for years, they sowed chaos, confusion, and pain into your life. The bill is due. And the universe, God, the divine order, is making sure it gets paid in full. But here's what makes this so powerful. You didn't have to lift a finger. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to send a single angry message or plot their downfall. All you did was survive. All you did was heal. All you did was choose light over darkness, even when darkness was the only thing surrounding you. And by doing that, you activated a spiritual force much bigger than yourself, one that tracks every word spoken against you, every curse uttered in secret, every betrayal plotted behind closed doors. Heaven kept the receipts. And now, the divine counterattack has begun. This isn't about wishing harm on anyone. This is about justice. This is about spiritual balance being restored. This is about God showing both you and them that no weapon formed against you would prosper, even when it looked like you were losing, even when it felt like you were drowning. Even when everyone around you counted you out, God was collecting every tear, every prayer, every sigh, and turning it into a force they can't escape now. You don't have to celebrate their downfall, but you do have permission to celebrate your survival. The important thing now is to protect your peace, like never before. This is where many chosen ones make the mistake of looking back, checking on their enemies, wondering how they're doing, trying to analyze the fallout. Don't do it. Don't break your focus. Stay forward. Stay grounded. Stay centered. Every time you shift your attention back to them, you open a small door that allows their energy to reconnect. And after everything you've been through, after all the hell you survived, the last thing you need is to re-engage with the very forces God just delivered you from. Strengthen your spiritual disciplines. Wake up and declare your protection daily. Anoint your space. Keep your energy field clean. Fill your mind with truth. Stay connected to content that uplifts your spirit and keeps your discernment sharp. This next season of your life is not just about recovery. It's about acceleration. The speed at which blessings, opportunities, and breakthroughs will start manifesting will shock you. But you can't carry old frequencies into this new chapter. Let them deal with their own consequences while you step into everything that's finally coming your way. And as strange as it sounds, you'll feel the release. You'll feel when the cord is fully cut. You'll sense the moment when their energy finally stops reaching for you. It'll come like a sudden wave of peace, like your soul is exhaling after holding its breath for years. That's the confirmation that the counterattack has done its work. That's your green light to move forward without looking back. And when that moment comes, stand up, smile, and say, "This chapter is over, and my new life begins now." The spiritual realm is shifting in your favor now. You've entered a phase where things will start happening quickly, both in the visible and invisible. Opportunities you thought you had lost will suddenly resurface. Doors that stayed closed for years will swing open without warning. Favor will find you in places where you were once rejected. And while all this begins to manifest, those who sent you harm will watch from a distance as the very things they tried to block in your life start blooming with unstoppable force. This is the season where God makes a public display of how He protected and preserved you through the worst of it. But let me make this clear. Just because the counterattack is in motion doesn't mean the enemy won't try last-minute distractions. You might still receive sudden messages from people you cut off. You might have strange dreams trying to pull you back emotionally. Some of your enemies might even try to reach out under the disguise of apology or sudden emotional breakdowns. This is not genuine repentance. This is spiritual desperation. They're trying to reopen energetic pathways that have already been sealed. Don't fall for it. Stay silent. Stay guarded. Let God handle what only He can handle now. Your job is to focus on your healing and elevation. Take this moment to rebuild your mental environment. Pour your energy into things that grow you, strengthen you, and align with your purpose. The enemy wasted enough of your time with confusion and emotional sabotage. Now it's time to take back your focus. Journal your goals. Plan your next steps. Pour into your spiritual gifts. Get physically stronger. Learn new skills. Whatever aligns with your destiny, pursue it with relentless determination. This is not the time for emotional distractions. It's the time for personal evolution. And let me tell you something powerful. As you step further into alignment, your spiritual discernment will increase. You'll start noticing red flags faster. You'll feel shifts in energy rooms before people even speak. You'll sense spiritual attacks in their earliest stages, long before they become full-blown storms. This is the fruit of your endurance. The training ground of suffering you walked through wasn't wasted. It sharpened your instincts. It stretched your faith. And it forced you to build a relationship with God that no human attack can ever break again. You'll also notice a shift in your emotional triggers, where certain names, faces, or memories used to make your heart race with anxiety or sadness. Now you'll feel nothing but indifference and peace. This is not emotional numbness. This is spiritual maturity. This is what it feels like to be free, to no longer carry the emotional weight of people who never had good intentions for your life, to no longer replay old conversations in your head, to no longer feel responsible for healing people who never wanted to heal themselves. This is your liberation. And as this freedom expands, so will your influence. The same voice that cried out for help in the dark will now become a voice that helps others out of their darkness. Your story of survival, your testimony of endurance, will become a weapon of light in the lives of others. You'll speak, and chains will break in people's lives just because they hear the authority in your voice. You'll walk into rooms and shift atmospheres because of the spiritual weight your journey has built in you. And those who once mocked your struggle will watch in silence as God elevates you publicly. But don't misunderstand. This isn't about ego or revenge. This is about spiritual order being restored, about divine justice running its full course, about God making it clear to every force that came against you that you were His from the beginning, and that touching you was their biggest mistake. Every delay, every heartbreak, every sleepless night is being repaid, not by your hands, but by the hands of heaven itself. And the only thing left for you to do is keep walking forward, without fear, without doubt, without ever looking back. The enemy underestimated your endurance. They thought that by throwing wave after wave of attack, they could wear you down to the point of spiritual collapse. But what they failed to realize is that every storm they sent only refined you. Every disappointment taught you resilience. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. What they intended as destruction became divine preparation. And now, you're spiritually unrecognizable to them. The version of you they designed their attacks for no longer exists. They're launching weapons against a target that has already outgrown their reach. You've now entered a season where silence is your most powerful weapon. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to explain your absence. You don't need to justify your growth. Your energy speaks for itself. The enemy knows they've lost access to you, and that realization is driving them into confusion. Some are scrambling, trying to find new ways to get your attention. Others are sitting in shock, replaying their actions, realizing too late what they set in motion. The spiritual counterattack has done more than shake their circumstances. It's shaking their conscience. Let me tell you what's happening to them right now. They're having restless nights. They're waking up with anxiety they can't explain. Financial doors they thought were secure are slamming shut. Opportunities they believed were guaranteed are slipping through their hands. Friendships that once supported their toxic behavior are ending in betrayal and confusion. And emotionally, they're unraveling. That same dark cloud that followed you for years now hovers over them, and there's no escape from it, because what they're experiencing now is the full weight of everything they sent your way. But don't let that pull you into bitterness. This isn't about celebrating someone's downfall. This is about recognizing spiritual law in action, about understanding that what you're witnessing is the earth rebalancing itself on your behalf, that God, in His timing and wisdom, is making it clear to both you and them that you were never fighting alone. The angels assigned to your life have been working overtime behind the scenes. The prayers you prayed in tears, the nights you spent crying on your bedroom floor, none of it went unheard. And now, you're seeing the harvest of endurance. This is why your next steps matter more than ever. Keep your focus forward. Start setting new spiritual goals. Increase your time in prayer. Strengthen your spiritual disciplines. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. The worst thing you could do right now is get distracted by their collapse. Don't start checking their social media. Don't engage in conversations that pull you back into old cycles. Remember, you didn't come this far just to emotionally relapse. The enemy would love to see you break your progress with one impulsive decision. Stay covered, stay vigilant, stay grounded. And this next season will require you to operate with intentionality. Wake up each day with purpose. Surround yourself with content that feeds your spirit. Disconnect from anything that feels like emotional bait. And most importantly, stay connected to God's voice above all else. The clarity you're feeling right now, protect it at all costs. You've worked too hard for this peace. This new frequency you're walking in, it's a shield around your life. The enemy is looking for cracks. Don't give them any. Your silence, your focus, your obedience, that's your victory posture now. Lastly, start speaking life over your future. Declare what's coming next. Prophesy over your finances, your health, your relationships, your calling. Remind yourself daily, I am untouchable by the enemy. My peace is protected. My destiny is secure. Let every word you speak be a weapon of light. Because from this point forward, you're not fighting for survival anymore. You're building a legacy. And every day you stay focused. You make it harder and harder for darkness to ever touch you again. And here's something else you need to understand. Every victory you're experiencing right now is not just for you. It's setting a spiritual precedent for others connected to your destiny. There are people who've been watching your journey, some in silence, others from a distance, wondering how you're still standing after everything you've faced. What they don't realize is that your survival wasn't by chance. It was divine preservation. Every scar, every tear, every silent prayer became a testimony in progress. And soon, you'll have opportunities to speak into the lives of others, helping them break their own cycles of warfare and delay. But don't rush the healing. Let yourself fully settle into this new frequency. Take time to enjoy the peace that's unfolding in your life. Let your nervous system decompress. Let your spirit adjust to this new level of clarity. For so long, your body and mind were conditioned for survival mode, always bracing for the next attack. But that's not your story anymore. You're transitioning from defense to dominion, from survival to overflow. And as you do, continue asking God for wisdom on how to steward this new season. Your next moves are sacred. And as strange as it may seem, you will probably feel moments of sadness for the time wasted, for the energy wasted, for the love you gave to people who didn't deserve it. And that's okay. Cry if you need to, but don't stay there. Let that sadness become fuel for your future. Let it remind you why you will never lower your standards again, why you will never ignore warning signs again, why you will never tolerate emotional games from anyone again. The old you would have retreated out of loneliness or guilt, but this version of you knows that peace is non-negotiable. Before I close, I want you to declare something powerful in the comments right now. The counterattack has begun as you manifest that you choose your purpose with God, because what you say now shapes the atmosphere of your life from now on. And if this message touched your spirit, if you felt the truth of this word penetrating deeply, click the like button, subscribe to the channel right now, and turn on the notification bell. And to all of you who have supported us through Buy Me a Coffee, I see you, I thank you, and I pray that the same outpouring that is happening in my life will begin to flood yours. If you feel moved to support, the link is pinned in the first comment below. And listen, don't stop here. If this video spoke to you, I have linked another message to your screen right now that I know will take you even deeper into this healing process. Click now to launch yourself to the next level. Stay vigilant. The war they have declared against you is over. See you at the next revelation, and God bless you.